Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday afternoon edition of Banter Blitz. I have some work to do. I had an unfortunate incident earlier this week where my old friend Lawrence Trent stopped by in the studio. So far, so good. We always enjoy having him here. But he also joined for a session of Banter Blitz, and that cost a lot of rating. I forgot the golden rule. Never play Banter Blitz with Lawrence Trent. He's gonna drag you down to his level, then beat you with experience. So that was tough, and I have to repair a lot of rating damage. Before we start trying to do that, let's please get a confirmation that you guys can hear me, see me, all the good stuff. I'm not sure. The site has been a little slow today. I think the tech guys are working on it, but I do hope that it's gonna work to play some Banter Blitz. So if you can see me, hear me, by all means, please tell me. Probably no one's watching this as usual. It's Friday afternoon. People have better things to do. They're going back from work. They're preparing their weekend plans, planning to go to the movies. I want to go to the movies. I want to see The Martian. People have sort of convinced me that it's a decent movie and that Matt Damon deserves another chance. I was rewatching The Departed the other day, and it did look that he is actually a good actor. Jack Nicholson didn't convince me though, way over the top, and he's sort of dragging the movie down. Can't really speak English yet. I should do a new Banter Blitz in German one day. Like this English language, I thought I would get better with talking English all the time, but it's really getting worse. I'm running out of words. Let's warm up and start playing. Why is the chat frozen? I'm sure there's tons of people talking to me, but I can't see it. Maybe it's not frozen. Maybe no one's talking to me. That would be sad. So I'm gonna continue under the assumption you guys can hear me and see me and communicate with me if you want to. And I'll play against Jörg Gutmann. Jörg, not Jörg, but Jörg, sporting what's that, Captain America? Looks like Captain America avatar. It's not the Chris Evans Captain America we know though, it's some other Captain America iteration. Not a big comic book guy, so I don't know who it is. But what I do know is that Jörg Gutmann doesn't seem to be here. That's really sad. I can't play against Jörg. Let's find another willing victim. Pretty much the same old crowd here. So I'll start out playing against Matutev. Caballo Rango can hear me and see me. Thanks for the confirmation. And let's see if Matutev is gonna cause us any trouble. I think he asked me an opening question the other day in the opening clinic. I can't remember what it was, so I hope I didn't give away any big secrets which he can now use against me. Probably I should keep that in account and play something I don't normally do. But maybe Matutev is not there either. Looks like really no one wants to play me this Friday afternoon, which is good for me. I can get out here early, buy my popcorn, go watch The Martian, and join Matt Damon on Mars. How exciting can it be though, Matt Damon on Mars? Like, I know he's gonna get rescued, right? It's not gonna be like, nah, we decided it doesn't make sense to waste $2 billion on get Matt Damon back to Earth. Let's have him starve on Mars. I don't think that's a likely outcome. So, Matutev, just as I was gonna finish this game up, or close this game, he does appear. And as I said, I can't remember what I told him in the opening clinic, so I will play something slightly offbeat. d4, e6. I don't normally do that because I'm scared of e4. Knight f3, c5 is actually a playable line. And it looks like he wants to play it safe, goes c3, indicating he wants to play some sort of, whatever you call these things, torre attack. I think that's what you call them. Nothing wrong with the torre. It's not the most frightening of openings, but I've wasted many years of my golden youth playing the same stuff with the white pieces, mainly out of laziness. You can do this against pretty much any black setup and you get a playable position, so there's really not that much wrong with it, but it's also not the most challenging of approaches. This position, I've learned my lesson not to play queen e2 here, because then cd and knight d5 is annoying, so I've also come around to this rook e1 thingy, C, D, E, D. I think knight D5 is what I used to play, or what they used to play against me. Bishop E7, knight C7, with a roughly equal position. Maybe white is a shade better. You can try some A4, A5 action. I've had some games here. Knight C4, I guess I should go D6, just to stop him from going knight D6, knight E5, or any other unpleasantness. Not quite sure about the plan. Mainly knight G6 and try to make something happen on the king side, provoke some G3. Yeah, A4 is a typical move. I'll go here, pretend I want to go knight F4, not sure I want to, but I might, so he should think about it. A5, very aggressive. I thought A5 was not much of an issue yet, because I can just go B5, and then if the knight moves, I can go A6, and the change in structure on the queen side should favor me. I was having second thoughts about A6 after B5, BC4, A, B7, but that did not happen, so now we reach the desired outcome, which, well, it's not that desirable really, but it's still what I was aiming for. Bishop takes. He should probably go bishop e4. Try it up a little more. Exchange these bishops, because my bishop is doing pretty well on d5. Let's see what Matutev is up to. Maybe he's listening to the show and he's hearing all my expert advice. So yeah, now I could go d5 and we get some sort of typical, whatever you call it, Queen's Gambit structure with colors reversed. I think I'll delay it a little bit. Now he has a chance to go d5 himself, but then after e5 followed by f5, at least things get a little more exciting. So let's see what he does. I can always switch back to the standard stuff of going d5 and then looking to get in b4, creating some weaknesses on the queen side. I really have a mental problem with continuously confusing queenside with kingside. I have to think every time. In my vocabulary, somehow the same word. I understand there's the king, so there's the kingside, but when I try to use either kingside or queenside, one of the word comes out, and I really can't control which one. I'm sure you're excited to hear all these deep revelations. Revelations? Revelations? Revelations. Reveal. Really struggling with this beautiful language today. Knight d2, what do? I think my knight's job on g6 is done now that he has played g3. Let's bring it to greener pastures. Threatening knight takes d6. Knight f5 looks normal. I don't want to go d5 anymore because then the c5 square would be a little weak. Yeah, still haven't really shown my superiority over Matutev yet. Now I have to watch out a little bit that he doesn't hurt me with g4. But it looks like g4 is not a threat yet because of knight h4. So maybe I'll try to provoke it, just go fishing for some complications. See what happens. He doesn't bite. No biting. Speaking of no biting, I don't follow politics much. Joe Biden is not running for US presidential candidate, right? I should get back into that. But ever since Jon Stewart retired from The Daily Show, is it The Daily Show? I don't know anything. Ever since Jon Stewart is out, I'm out of news sources. I'll probably have to give Trevor Noah a shot. Well, I'm messing up here, by the way. After b3, rook c6, d5, I'm in serious trouble. Or knight d2 followed by d5, also good, even though less good than b3 and d5. My banter mojo is still gone. That's a sad thing when you get older. You remember the golden days when you were a good blitz player. I used to... no one wants to hear this, but I used to be good at blitz, at least in my mind. And now, it's a problem. You can't really adjust to enjoying a game of chess when you're playing below the level you once had. It's a problem I think many aging grandmasters, including myself, have. I can never be a happy amateur playing at a 2500 level. That's FIDE, like not blitz. Because, yeah, I would just hate myself too much for doing these horrible things. Not that I was ever a great player, but dropping your level, I think it's very, very hard to switch the button to chess-happy amateur playing for fun and doing the best he can. Can't do it. And I should probably play a sensible move at some point. H3, bit of a random move. I think my knight on f5 is silly. I have to bring it back to center field. 97, knight d5. See what happens. Not very impressive. There's nothing to learn from this game. I'm just moving pieces back and forth, waiting for Matutev to either lose on time or blunder something. That's the two winning plans I have while I'm trying to deny him both of these options. I'm not going to lose on time, and I'm not going to, well, I might blunder, but I'm not planning to. Let's provoke him a little bit, see if his kingside attack can get going. Rook b8, knight g5, yeah, that's what I was saying. Doesn't really go anywhere, so go away. Now, if he does go away, I will finally, after very careful maneuvering, switch to active operations on the queenside. I think I've gotten a 100% score of getting queenside and kingside right so far, which is an impressive achievement for my standards. What is going on here? Now I should be in good shape. d4 is under attack, b2 is under attack, and the biggest achievement of them all, he's down to 24 seconds. I feel a flag job coming. Let's grab the pawn. For starters, knight f4. Let's keep it simple. Some vague attacking gestures, pretending I have a plan, which of course I do. I want to exchange queens and then checkmate him. Or checkmate him with queens on the board, even better. I'm hoping for... I don't see how he could do it. I'm hoping the queen goes away and then I would have queen takes g3, fg, rook g2, rook h2 and rook g2 mate. I don't see how I can provoke that though. No, I have to do it this way, unfortunately, which is good enough. It's mate in 2 moves or something, but I would have liked to get this fake queen sacrifice in. People are trying to give me a pep talk saying I'm still a good player and so on. And yeah, I am, but yeah, I'm not working that much for myself anymore. So it's hard to keep the level, and to drop is really tough mentally, at least for me. I'm sure a lot of people do that adjustment better. I'm not sure I have dropped off all that much, but I sometimes have a feeling, especially in Blitz, that I used to be good. Then again, I used to have more time and just used to hang out on various chess sites playing Blitz non-stop, which is probably good training. Well, nowadays, if I play, I normally talk about it at the same time, which might not help. Still, enough whining. 2,750 is a pathetic rating. I blame everything on Lawrence Trent, even though I blundered most of the pieces myself in the last session. And I should get to, I don't know, I have a feeling on Chess24 I should be able to get to 2,900. Maybe I should make it a goal to have that for the next Banter Blitz session. I might have to do some playing in between. So let's play A. Jimenez. After all this big talk, he's probably going to bring me down to earth. I will get the knight out. As I like to do, it makes it a little harder for black to get the Grunfeld in, which most people are very afraid of. And he wants to go for the King's Indian, so he shall get his wish. Knight bd7 is a move you don't see that often nowadays anymore on the main line, of course. e5, knight c6. Nothing really wrong with knight b7, it's just considered to be a little passive. After c6 the main move here is d5, but I shall play queen c2 just to mix things up a little bit. In general, in the King's Indian, I quite often like to keep the tension in the center as long as possible. And is this a theoretical line? My problem is my memory is fading. Oh Jesus, so much whining. But I think this is a line that I used to play rook a d1 and ed knight d4, queen e7, f3, a6. How do we punish a6? One typical reaction would be to take on e5 now and then try to get in some c5 to use these weakened squares. Not sure that is the correct reaction. c5 is not yet possible. Of course you can always go d5, but I really don't want to. Well, if I play another waiting move, I could play another waiting move like rook e1. But is that any good? Decisions. Let's see if I can get away with this. I'm not sure about rook e1 because now ed4, knight d4, queen e7, f3, d5 could be a theme. I'm guessing I'm still in time for it. Queen c7. c7 is normally not the square you want for your queen in these positions. Nothing overly wrong with it, of course, but I believe this queen would be happier on e7 in most of these structures. Here I am chatting away while the position is still totally normal and I'm way down on time. I'll get an h3 just to stop knight g4 now that his queen has moved. And I'll continue doing nothing. He's probably going to go for some b5. I'll go a3. I'll speed up a little bit to increase my flagging chances. Now he decides to take here. Nothing wrong with that either. Maybe I should have taken with the whatever that piece is called. The bishop, actually. Because after playing h3, it's a little awkward for me to play f3 since it weakens the light squares here. So I have to play bishop f3, which is not ideal. Not the end of the world, and I will bring it back to its rightful destination shortly, but not ideal. Here I have to be a little careful, or I should have been a little bit careful about swapping on d4 followed by queen b6 with a double attack against d4 and b4. Yeah, bishop e2 wasn't very smart. Should have gone a3 or queen d2 or a move like that. Now, yeah, if he does take and goes queen b6, I'm in a bit of trouble. Nothing too bad, but also nothing to get excited about. Knight of 8 is indicating he wants to exchange on d4, followed by putting the other knight on e6, so I shall avoid that exchange because now his pieces look a little clumsy, and I also solve my issues with queen b6. Time to speed up a little bit. White is better now. Nothing to write home about as usual, but better. At some point I'm going to have to come up with some sort of plan. But for now I'll reshuffle a little bit. The rook on e1 isn't doing anything more. I want my rooks on c1 and d1 in these positions. So I shall do that because on c1 the rook is useful, defending c3, hinting at some knight d5 ideas. Well, on e1 it's not needed anymore to protect the e4 pawn. So yeah, so far typical game, white is better here. And he leashes out with b5. That shall not distract me from my plan, because b5 mainly creates weaknesses for him on the queen side. So no complaints. I've completed my little regrouping. He's fishing for something on the king side, but I don't really see it, so I shall start targeting things on the queen side. Can always throw in g3 if I feel the need. But yeah, I've seen this idea. It's just very hard to believe. How do we punish it? Maybe by going here. Maybe not by going here, but it does look natural. Making the queen go away from that e4 square, from where it was defending Mr. c6 pawn. Jimenez is trying to generate some counterplay, but I picked up a lot of material, which is nice. Blundered some of it back. I'm not going to pretend like I saw rook d7. Position is still winning, but it has become a little dicey with the clock situation. It seems like he's planning to play quickly, which is very unfair. That's the end. Good game. Jimenez. Actually, it was a good game by me. I kind of spoiled it, even though it didn't spoil the winning position with queen takes d6. But in general, I did play a decent game for these King's Indian structures. Next game. Who we got? Akakar says there are still non-premium members here. I know. And it's sad. Everyone should become a premium member so I can play against you guys and you can enjoy all the features and support this exciting Chess24 project, because there's no advertising or anything on this site. The only income source are the premium members, so to keep the lights burning, we do appreciate you guys very much. Let's play one of them. Let's play one of the on paper weaker premium members who I'm often accused of neglecting, but I'm not trying to. Gatje from Holland. The Netherlands goes e4. I shall play this Sicilian defense. If he allows me, I'm going to go for the Sveshnikov, or the Pelikan as some people call it. He has been enjoying a bit of a, well, not really a comeback, but a bit more popularity recently. Boris Gelfand sort of brought it back in his World Championship match against Vishy Anand. And Gatje, sorry, I can't pronounce that, went astray early with knight to b3, knight b5 is critical. And yeah, now I am just a pawn up with a good position, so not a good outcome of the opening for white. One, what do I do? I want to go bishop e6, but I don't want to be bothered by knight to c5, so I went queen d6 first just to cover that square. Yeah, at some point he should probably play c4, d4, c3 to at least generate some play. But of course things have gone very wrong for our friend from Holland already. Being a pawn down with not much to show for it. I used to speak a bit of Dutch, but this is a tough name to pronounce. Gatje or Gatje? Go c4 now. Fighting back. Still better, but c3 I guess is mandatory. And again, then I could take on b3 and on c5. No, I'm sorry, I don't have good advice. The position is just bad. Gatje in trouble. New rule, I'm only gonna play users with easier usernames than that one. That's just too tough to pronounce. I can't do it. So I shall try to end this game as quickly as possible by pushing my d-pawn deeply into the heart of his position. And a rook is a rook, as they say. Showing off, really. Nothing wrong with rook e1, followed by rook d3 either, of course. This position is quite tough to defend. Pins. Still hope for him after rook takes c1. If I play a move like b6, that would be rook c8 followed by checkmate. But I would have spotted that. Sorry, Gatje, for being unable to pronounce your name. And let's find someone else. What's happening in the chat? Novitian, remember the good old days when the majority of players on the site were Germans? Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of the Germans by only speaking English. No more German shows. No, that's not true. I'll do one or two. And we do love you all equally. I am German, so I can get away with insulting the Germans as much as possible. Spanish guys have been making a push, lots of Spaniards around on the site. Also because of the 72 hours non-stop Banter Blitz they did. Which, yeah, very impressive accomplishment by those guys, by DBs and Mr. Ernesto Fernandez. They played 72 hours non-stop. bad news is now probably I have to do it as well with someone, and I really don't want to. But we'll look into it and consider it while I'm looking into potential new opponents. Let's play against OGSG. OGSG. Don't think I've ever played him. 2452. Very anonymous. Doesn't say the country, doesn't say the name. We don't know anything about the OGSG. What does OG stand for? Does it stand for what I think it is? Is he a real OG? Might be something completely different. Normally I don't like going d5 that early, but if he goes b6, he's sort of asking for it. And now we have some, whatever you call this opening, old Indian structure, where he has played the reasonably useless move b6, which of course doesn't change things all that much in this position. The price of a tempo is not very high, but I still couldn't resist. He's got knight f8, indicating he wants to put his knight here, which might make me change plans. I was going to play with g4, but if the knight goes to g6, it's just too tempting to restrict it by playing conservatively. Oh, he's going for checkmate. Interesting. Very interesting opening by OGSG. I'm sure he's played this before. He's blitzing it all out very convincingly. Yeah, interesting idea, this g5 against castles. Didn't see that one coming. Followed by knight to f4, and he has a decent position. I hate to admit it, but he does. Still, there's long-term hope for me. I can put my own knight into f5, and I think I'll do that instantly, and then try to use the weakness of some of his light squares, but overall I think he has a decent position. I don't like when my opponents have decent positions. Not at all. Queen d7. Is he going to checkmate me? Is he going to go g4 and checkmate me? Wouldn't be very friendly, but I can't rule it out. He wants to take his time, play with me. Time to look for some sort of counterplay on the other side of the board. Not sure how concerned I should be, but I am a little concerned about these g4 ideas. It doesn't seem like it's crashing through just yet. Could take, pawn takes, bishop f4 if I'm feeling very greedy, or probably the saner immediate bishop f4 followed by queen f4, and if g3, g3. He's brought his king around to g7. Not a bad plan, but it does sort of lessen the impact of his kingside plans. And I think I can get away with proceeding with my queenside operations. See what happens. Wants to exchange a pair of rooks. Good idea. So I do not get in rook to b7. But looks like he switched to defense. I like that much better than when they attack me. Queen c7. Let's provoke a little action. Where does his knight want to go? Maybe it should take this route. I was going to go knight f3, but then I changed my mind and decided I should go to g3 and e4. Not sure I will regret that change of direction, but in general I should be better now. Because, well, there are targets on the queen side, and his king side attack hasn't really started to roll just yet. Novitian saying his internet didn't work, so I should repeat the last 30 seconds. But I don't know when you said that, so I don't know what I said in the 30 seconds you missed. Else I'm always willing to repeat myself, as anybody who's watched the show more than once can confirm. But I don't know which moment I missed. He's trying to exchange off all the rooks. What do I do about that? I shall allow it. I'll provoke him a little bit with king h2. And can I do this, or am I gonna get punished? Only one way to find out. switched my attention over to the king side because his pieces abandoned it and the pawn on g5 looks very juicy. But now he's back to OG mode, sacrificing a piece, going for the attack. Which, yeah, as I said, I like it better when they defend than when they attack. But I also like pieces. It's a problem with chess, all these concepts you have to balance. You don't want them to attack you, but you do want to take their pieces. Choices, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me about it. Or don't. My rook is doing a pretty decent job as a defender along this third rank though, so I ain't that worried. A little annoyed that he wants to take this pawn. I'd rather keep this pawn for myself, but I don't feel like I really have time for it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Still has some compensation. He's very resourceful, the OG SG. He should take on c4, queen c3 check, return to e5, knight g4, do something with some compensation. I hope it's not enough, but I'm not 100% sure. d5 is a little weak. My king is still a little bit weak. Piece is a piece, so I should be doing alright. But he does have counterplay. Queen d7, what's that about? I do not know. Knight g4, f3 check, is that a problem? Doesn't look like a problem. But often, if it doesn't look like a problem, that's because it's not a problem. Timeless wisdom once again, ladies and gentlemen. Goes bishop f6, giving me a choice which of his pieces to take. I am a sucker for bishops, but in this case I feel this knight on e5 was more of a nuisance than the bishop, so I shall get rid of the knight. Queen c8, what's that about? I don't know. g4. Drama. Gives me the chance for a fake queen sacrifice. Those are my favorite queen sacrifices, the fake ones. Because it looked like I was losing my queen, but I have the very painful bishop h4 check, and his king doesn't have anywhere to go. So that's the end of the game, because rook g5, queen g5 is checkmate. Good game, OGSG. Being asked who I like in the Huschenbeet versus Bartholomew session tomorrow. I have no idea, I'm not that familiar with John Bartholomew. But of course I have tremendous faith in my boy Niklas, and I'm sure he's gonna do just fine. Zoldek is saying, come on Jan, accept my challenge and I will think about it becoming a premium member. That's not how it works. You think about it and I will accept your challenge once you became one. In the meantime, I will play against people who've already taken that decision. Like Olgards Indrikens, where's he from? From Latvia. And I foolhardily played 1 e4. But I can still rectify that mistake by not going d4, instead playing bishop to b5. And now going for one of these highly exciting lines with bishop takes c6. Not much of an expert here, but play is sort of natural. You go rook e1, c3, d4, see what happens. If they go knight f6, I think you go e5 and then d4. And then c4, I'm sorry. He goes e5. Not very educated on this line, but I think it's one of these paradoxical lines where even though he has the two bishops and a double pawn, what I should do is get rid of the double pawns and open the center, because I want to activate my pieces, get some squares for the knights, get some work for my bishop. And yeah, that's why chess is so tough. You're taught in school, against the two bishops, don't open the position, keep it closed. Often it's not true. I have a feeling this is still a theoretical position. I do not really know. Knight b3 looks natural, just planning to go bishop f4 without allowing him to capture on b2. He could and probably should go d5, there he goes. Complicated position, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling that with good play I should be a little better, but I have a feeling I'm not gonna play well, so that's gonna neglect that theoretical advantage. Let's see where the rook could go. If it goes to b6, I might just hit it again with bishop e3. Planning to reshuffle my bishop towards the c5 square, because that looks like a juicy square. Or even more positional, go bishop d4, exchange his good bishop, and then try to make use of these weak and dark squares on the queen side. Could now go to an endgame with d4, but he'd be worse after bishop g7, followed by, I don't know, knight takes e4 and knight to c5. He goes bishop e6, which makes sense. Now I have to think, can I do something cute like knight c5, rook b2, queen d4 check? I have a feeling I can. My point is if he takes on b2, queen d4 check, followed by knight takes d5, should reap benefits. Daltrey Deluvia is saying there are three kinds of chess players: those who like 1e4, those who like the endgame, and then there's me. Sounds about right. The problem is I don't like many things in life. I do like winning the exchange. I hope I can accomplish this goal of mine with knight takes d5. CD queen b2, and he doesn't have much to show for the exchange, while if he removes his rook, I want to do bad things to him, like knight f6 check followed by knight d7 check, or something should happen. Yeah, he goes for cd5. This was the lesser evil, but it's still pretty evil. The position is just lost, really. There's no compensation for the exchange. In fact, he is an exchange down and worse, which tends to be bad. d4, if rook d1, knight c6, and it ain't over yet. Can't say anything smarter though, so I'm gonna do just that. I don't know, Ed. Imagined for this to go more smoothly. Actually, rook d1 was a bad move. I shall rectify that by regrouping that rook. It doesn't do all that much on d1 really. So once again I'm trying to get the placement of my rooks right, and they should be on c1 and d1. Yeah, bishop c8, not a bad move. Getting out of this knight's sight. But my knight on c5 is still pretty nice. This should allow me some trickery. I will pretend I missed bishop h3, but I didn't. Devious. The point is of bishop h3, f4, covering g2, and sort of overloading his pieces. c6 under attack, h3 under attack, queen g4 might be the only move, but then I have some tempting options, including moves like king h1, leaving this bishop sort of stranded. Well, queen f6, now I can just take the guy. I do like bishops. Rook b8, fair enough. But a rook is a rook. Oh, I could have finished the game with rook c6. Wasn't really necessary, but I could have done that. Still, queen g2 does force resignation, so I shouldn't be too hard on myself for playing that move. Who's next? Let's play against the infamous devil. Yeah, he's well known for being infamous, that devil character. Is that a picture of the devil? Or maybe it is the devil. He is from France. Goes 1e4. Against the devil, you don't want to mess with the devil. You want to play it safe. Stick to what you know. Exchange the queens. try to sidestep the fires of hell. Bishop d3. This is one of these lines I once looked at and then I forgot all about it. That's often how it goes. Castles, queen h5, g6, and a lot of taking on g6 would already lead to at least a draw, so I don't want that. I once checked this bishop d3 line and I remember it wasn't anything special, but I don't think it's because of what I did. I might actually be in a bit of trouble here. Have to be careful about tricks involving bishop h7, queen h5, rook g3. So I'll probably go g6, but that in turns allows knight to d5. Bishop g7, knight e7 check, which is not the end of the world, but it's not something I enjoy all that much either. He could get rid of my bishop, and my knight on d6 is still a little silly. So the infamous devil shows us why he's the devil and sort of tricks me in the opening where, yeah, I'm under some pressure. I don't like being under pressure. Stress. b3, another good move. What can you do? The problem in all these positions is knight on d6 is really a dumb piece. I want to regroup it to, let's say, f6 with knight e8, but then I have to worry a bit about bishop a3. Not sure how bad it is. I'll go d6 then. But it doesn't look great. Whom am I kidding? I'm worse. He's got all his pieces out. I don't. h3, stopping any nonsense with bishop to g4. Also a good move. Infamous devil is showing who's the boss. Rook b8, not a move you want to play, but I had to cover b7 in order to get my bishop somewhere, let's say to e6. And I couldn't think of anything better. So that's what I did. Well, the good news is I've been playing slowly, so I'm also down on time. Don't dance with the devil. If I get a move, I should be kind of alright. I can bring my bishop out to d7, c6, something like that. But I'm still fighting for égalité and fraternité here. I don't see anything too crushing for him though, so that's good. Doesn't mean it doesn't have to be there. After all, the biggest trick the devil ever pulled was make us believe he didn't exist. Knight b5, what's that about? I don't know. It's provoking me to do something active against my habits. The devil's knight has sort of lost his way. Can I take here or is bishop g6 a pawn? Doesn't look like. And if it doesn't look like, it normally isn't. Could also have started with rook e8. Maybe that was more cunning. But this also looks fine. Bishop g6, bishop e1, and I don't see a follow-up. So hopefully there is none. There we go. A rook up, which is good. My king is a little weak, which is bad. So that's the stats. But I believe the extra rook factor weighs more heavily than the weakened king factor. Ooh, gotta be a little careful here about queen h4 checks. How careful is the question? Should be careful. It does look scary. Well, position still looks a bit scary, to be honest with you. But I do have that extra rook. What world are we living in if extra rooks don't matter anymore? I don't know. Can you checkmate the devil, or is that... Devil resigns. Good game. Infamous devil. Put me under pressure there. But he succumbed to higher force in the end. Next game. A Suarez. Now Spaniard. What's with all the Spaniards? Is he from Spain? Sounds Spanish. He is from Spain. He's called Adrian Suarez, which probably explains his username. It's a combination of his first name Adrian, short A for Adrian, and then his last name Suarez. I've played c4. I don't play a whole lot of c4, mainly because I don't enjoy these positions after e5 all that much, really. I believe black is doing alright here after d5 takes, knight c3, knight b6. But of course it does lead to a playable game. h6, very deep. It has been played by some decent players. And, well, as many... The idea is black wants to lose half a tempo, and after knight c3 wants to go bishop b4. There's many recipes against this. I think this reaction is what Vladimir Kramnik played against Magnus Carlsen in their game when Carlsen went h6. It made sense to me. You transpose to... What do you call this? This Botvinnik type of setup. Here it's always a tough choice of DC or BC. Someone with more chess understanding than me would probably make that choice more easily. To my mind, they both make sense. And yeah, we get this weird structure where, since he's played h6, I should be okay. The normal plan for black is to go c6, d5, but he might be a little late with that. And if you play more passively or more normally, whatever you want to call it like this, then white has an easy plan by just going f4 and going for the kingside attack. Generally, it's another one of these situations. We've seen it with colors reversed earlier, where even though white has the two bishops, black wants to try to open the position with a6, b5, or say c6, d5 normally. So here I believe I'm a bit better because it's hard to do something. Yeah, he goes for the other sensible plan, which is to prepare f5. Should I go f4 immediately, or do I start with something more clever like h3, f5 takes, and then g4, f4? Let's do that. I'm not really sure it's more clever, but why not? Goes bishop e6. That's a surprise. I thought the plan was to go f5. There it comes, but with a little delay. Throw in rook b1 just to be annoying. Looks a little off topic, this move, frankly, but just to see if he reacts. And rook b1, rook b8. Might set up some tricks later with rook b7 or what do I know. So can't hurt to include that. Not sure if I should go f5 here. I have a feeling I shouldn't, but I still will. Still will. Sounds a bit like Kill Bill. No, yeah, I'm not sure about my plan, but I do like my bishop, so put the other one on e3 and probably try to bring the knight around to g3 and some more juicy squares. Then see if I want to follow up with some h4, g5 or some play in the center, something along the lines of d4 and c5. So I should be a bit better, but of course the game has only just begun. If he goes queen f7, it's going to be very tempting to go h4. If he goes king h8, it's also going to be very tempting. We should, from time to time, give in to temptations. Not sure if that's true. Probably is. Bit curious if he can go h5 here, very double-edged, intending to meet g5 with knight g4. After h5 I might just take it. It does go h5. And I'll take it. I do like my pawns, and more importantly, still think I have some chances to build up a kingside attack here with this massive pawns. Can throw in some h6, or some f6 at some point. So I do still like my position, but it does not play itself. I have to think of stuff, which I don't like. Could do something way too clever for my own good, like knight e4, knight h5, and then some bishop move, like bishop d8 or bishop e7. And, well, I'm not sure it's good. It's tempting. Point is after knight h5, bishop e7. He can't take with the knight, because then knight g5 check. Well, if he takes with the queen, I have queen h5 followed by knight g5, which also looks scary. So he avoids that, but now I'm ready for action on the king side. Or at least I hope so. f6 in the air, h6 in the air. Let's go f6 first and see how he's planning to deal with all this firepower. Not sure how much firepower it is, but some unpleasantness. Probably is going to take on f6. I think that's, yeah, the correct practical decision. When I am a lot of material up, but I have to be a little careful about my own king all of a sudden. What do I do? Bishop g6 threatens checkmate, so that's tempting. Yeah, there's a thought process for you. We threaten mate in one. Let's do it. Let's do it. Sorry, A. Suarez. What's happening over here in the chat? Easy peasy. Jan got some fans. Jan is too modest to speak of himself by his right name. Yeah. Modesty is the most subtle form of arrogance, ladies and gentlemen. So don't be fooled. I am very full of myself. Who do we play next? Let's continue our Spanish theme. Looks like the Spaniards have really overtaken the site. Where are the Germans? Jorhar, 2600. Jesus, that's high rated. I have to focus. And a 3-minute game. So a lot of bad news already. And I played knight f6, which I normally don't. Panic. I'm already panicking. I don't know what to do. g3. Oops, I meant to go g6, obviously. You see the results of my panic. Little pawn slip. Richard Rapport would be happy here, but for me it was just a mouse slip. That was not part of the plan. Jorhar, what are you doing to me? Looks like he's not impressed with my g5 plan, and he just wants to go for the typical b4 break. I don't know what to do about it. Is a5 or not a5 is always a tough decision. Both have their pros and cons. Problem is with my stupid pawn on g5, it's not all that tempting to castle anymore. So I have to do something else, but I don't know what. I really don't. I will embark on some very subtle knight maneuvers. Very deep stuff. But now you can just go d4, which would accentuate his advantage. Jorha is a good player. Yeah, note to self, don't go g5. I kind of know that. It was a mouse slip. And I'm not enjoying the consequences. I guess sooner or later I'm gonna have to castle. Even though, yeah, with this pawn on g5, f4 is a little more powerful than it usually would be in these positions. So is queen h5. Oh boy, this is not fun at all. What to do? Life does go on, or so they say. I'm fishing for tricks, not sure they're really there. Like knight f4, gf, bishop g4. Let's try our luck. Promise he doesn't have to take, he can just go back to d1. when I haven't achieved all that much, sadly. Not sure if I had a more cunning way to get my trick in, but I didn't see it. Still, I got rid of one of his bishops, which is progress. Very complicated. Ugh, probably shouldn't have allowed that. That was a bit of an unpleasant surprise. I was too excited about my comeback. Well, now I'm in trouble again. I don't like being in trouble. Yeah, this is a pretty bad position. His knights are kind of dominant. There they start jumping around. Still jumpy. What's that? Pieces. Pieces for me. I like pieces. He might have pre-moved that one. Now I'm gonna have to be fast. Fast and furious. Check. And Jorha resigns. That was a bit of a roller coaster. First I mouse slipped g5, which wasn't the plan. Then I got a good position somewhere. Then I got a bad position again. And then time went low. Didn't know what time it was when lights went low. Let's play someone else to recover from all this excitement. Let's play against Cheesy Chessboy. What's wrong with being called Cheesy Chessboy from Austria? Is he a cheesy chessboy or is that tongue-in-cheek? We will never know. But I will sneakily play one g6. The opening of my youth. g6, d6, c6. Take it from there. He's disconnected. Now there he is again. c3, very solid system. Which I know zilch about. Bishop c4, c3 and bishop c4. A rare combination. Normally they put the bishop on d3 after playing c3, so this pawn is already covered. Not sure what this is about. Maybe he's going for scholar's mate, but probably not. Queen c2, whatever. Let's see where this leads us. Many options. I guess principled would be bishop g4, since he's played bishop c4 and queen c2. Might have some options with bishop f3. No, I'm not sure anymore. He can just go knight bd2. Looks like he's not overly scared of my plan with bishop f3. So I must teach him to respect my devious plan to break his structure. Not sure how great a decision that was. c5, he should go dc5 when I might contemplate queen a5, sacrificing a pawn. Because dc is sort of a boring structure, which I don't like. And oh, he goes d5, interesting. Let's bring the knight out. Is that the right way to put the pieces? I'm not sure. You could argue for knight a6, knight c7 and stuff like that again. Does he want to go a4? Looks like he does. That makes it harder to... Castle queenside at least. Trying to gain control over these dark squares before he does. Mr. Cheesy Chessboy. h4. a4, h4. Which one is it? Does castle queenside. That, even for a coward like me, that is too much temptation. Time to move into attacking mode. Move into attacking mode? Yeah, you get the idea. f4, pawn. How do we take it? It's actually a good move. But I won't be afraid. You're not gonna checkmate me, cheesy chess boy. And I did achieve my goal of controlling the dark squares. It's rook h4. He wants to put the rook to h1. But how scared am I of that? I mean, I am very scared, don't get me wrong, but not scared enough. Now h5 or rook f7? I think h5 is good. I believe cheesy chess boy is in trouble. Not sure how much trouble, but in a bit of trouble. This is not a blunder for a change. I'm trying to fork him. Now I did collect a bit of material, and I guess cheesy chess boy is gonna resign here because I am a queen and some other stuff up. Sorry, cheesy chess boy. More challenges. Let's find someone I haven't played yet. Let's play Neugieriger Horst. Played a lot of Spaniards. Might as well throw in a German. Curious Horst recently became a premium member, so let's give him a chance. Looks like I never played him. However, if he's not here, I'm gonna abort instantly and play someone else. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Sorry, Neugieriger Horst. Don't tell me I didn't try. Let's play Mr. F. Schwarz, also from Germany. 2560. Scary. Is he also not here? No one's here. d4. Knight c3. Sidelines. Can't say I'm a big expert on this stuff, but how scary can it be? That's always what I ask myself. Not always, but sometimes I ask myself that. How scary can it be? Most of the time I don't ask myself. Now we got sort of a standard setup with my knight on d7 is a little misplaced, his knight on c3 is also a little misplaced, so we will see which misfit affects the situation more. I just want to go c5, castles, b6, bishop b7 and see what happens. More or less. He takes. Is he trying to grab one of my hard-earned pawns? Knight c5, bishop b5 check, bishop d7. Could be a bit of trouble. So let's delay recapturing for a second. I'm not that concerned about c5, about b4. I have a feeling something bad would happen to him. So I will take now, which positionally should be an achievement for me. Not sure how big of an achievement, but maybe it's a little achievement. I want to go knight e4, but then bishop e4. Yeah, nothing special. So I'll keep developing for lack of better ideas. Go h3, go b6, bishop b7, and see what happens. Of course I could also take on d3, but don't really see the need for that yet. Yeah, rook d1. Fair enough. I'm gonna have to decide where to put my queen one day or another. Doesn't have an obvious good square, unfortunately. So let's put it on a bad one. Queen c7, bishop f4 I didn't like. And I don't want it on the same diagonal. Or I think that's not a diagonal technically, on the same file as the rook. So we went there. a4. I have a feeling it's time to do something active. I've thought about bishop takes e7 no more than like 2.5 seconds, so I probably should have spent a bit more time on that. But it's blitz. I'm not sure I like any of my last couple moves really. No, I'm drifting a little bit. Positionally I'd be okay if I get an e5, but I'm concerned about queen c4 and b4 and all kinds of unpleasantness in the air. What to do? If I have one more move to play e5, everything would be fine. But will I get that chance? Or is it going to bother me with knight d5 or b4? When I have to think, which is really... If there wasn't all this thinking in chess, I would like the game much, much better. Knight b3, that's a surprise. Might be a good move though, who knows? I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just go here. I don't have the feeling I've handled this part of the game well at all. Okay, don't want to get undermined, so I have to take and go b5. Weird position. He does have the d file, which I don't like. His bishop is not very good on g3. So that's what I have going for me. And I will embark on an instant suicide mission with f5, planning to go f4, play against that bishop. Suicide commando, suicide. What song is that? Now, at least optically, I've made some progress. Not sure how to cash in on it, but the position looks friendlier than it did a while ago. I don't like that move though. I'm playing weird moves. Note to self, don't play weird moves. F. Schwarz is trying to confuse me. I shall not be confused. Sacrifice the exchange, but didn't achieve all that much with it, if you ask me. Which you probably do, since you're watching this show. Probably people aren't. Oh, there goes the board. In time trouble. Drama. Position is now completely winning for me, but we are low on time. And F. Schwarz oversteps the time limit. Weird game, but yeah. All is well that ends well. I was once told. Never made any sense to me. Things can be terrible and then end well, right? Who do we play? A lot of regulars here. I'm trying to play some new guys. Tormentspiel. That's a very provocative username. Because my dislike for Tormentspiele is well known. He's also from the United Kingdom. Strange name to call yourself Rook Endgame in German if you're from the UK. Not sure what that's about. He might not be there. He might be analyzing some Rook Endgames instead of playing. Who knows? I will read the check. The chat. F5. He's provoking even more. good old Dutch, the infamous Dutch. I've been huffing and puffing about the Dutch for a long, long time. C5, this I do not know. I think I do know it. I think it was bad, but I don't know why. Maybe bishop f6. Yeah, I think it might have been something like this. Not sure it was this, but I remember I had a discussion with our friend Nino Anton about either this position or a very similar position. And we decided it was good for white. Probably it wasn't this exact position, because this doesn't look that good for white. No, here I've done something wrong. Sad. Black is fine. After playing the Dutch. Sort of a plan. Not a good plan, but a plan. I want to go c4, rook c1, and make something happen on all these open files, or half open files, or files about to open on the queen side. But I have to admit, he has a perfectly playable position here. Nothing wrong with it. Probably I shouldn't provoke the bishop to go to d6, because it's better there than on e7 anyway. So I'm not sure why I did that. b3, just in case, Justin Timberlake. I don't want this knight to be hanging or this pawn to be dropping or anything like that. It's still a weird position. I'm not sure I like this move, rook c8, because if I get control of the c file, I'll be doing pretty well. Queen d8. Do we want the endgame? The endgame is nice, but I have a feeling I would sell my position a little short if I went for it. Is that English? Sometimes I make up expressions, I have no idea. I'm not sure you can sell your position short. Still wants the endgame. Can't blame him for it. I don't really want an endgame. Yeah, this hasn't gone perfectly. h5, so aggressive. If I go h4, is he going to go g5? I'm not really concerned about h4 either, to be honest with you. To be perfectly honest, I'm not that concerned about h4. Maybe I should have been. g5, really? No prisoners taken by Mr. Tormenspiel. Maybe it's time to go for the Tormenspiel before he checkmates me with this. Daring attack. Now that my knight is a little more central, I'm a little more motivated to go for the endgame. Still not sure it's a good decision because I'm never sure about anything I do. Can I throw in a little Zwischenschach just to see what happens? Almost. King g8. Now let's not get too crazy. Maybe I should have done it, I'm not sure. Couldn't calculate king g8, and then the problem is if I take back, he has queen c7 and bishop d6. Still a lot of time. This is a 5-minute game. I have a feeling I'm in huge time trouble, but I'm not. Yeah, all this uncalled for aggression at least left some weaknesses behind in his camp as well. Especially the move 1 f5 left the weakness of this square behind, which I'm planning to cash in on one way or another. Probably another. King e8. Yeah, not sure 95 check was any good actually. It was more of an impulse. What have I done? Why did I give that check? That was actually stupid. Very stupid. I have a feeling I messed up. Might still be a little better, but there was more in it. In it to win it. King f8 gives me stuff. I like it when they give me stuff. And this is not going to be a very fair Turmendspiel because he doesn't have a Turm. And that's my favorite rook endgames, where I have the rook and the other guy doesn't. And that's why rook endgame does resign. We will do our, by now, habitual stepping out break for more or less 2 minutes, I guess. Oh no, that's the opening clinic. This is not an opening clinic. What can I show you guys? Check out the outro. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. After my very brief stepping out, we will play, what time is it? 2-3 more games. I'm planning to go to the movies at 8, so I might be back after that to do a highlight video, but I gotta watch The Martian. Matt Damon on Mars. What could be more exciting? Probably Leonardo DiCaprio on Mars. I'd rather watch that. But for now, I wanna play someone I haven't played before. Can that happen? Let's play Vartier. I think Vartier has been complaining for a long time that he never gets the chance. Not sure if that's true or not, but it says I haven't played him yet. So here we are, Mr. Vartier. Goes d4. I shall bring the knight out. And he plays c4 while I press the spacebar to refresh the chat. The good old Nimzo Indian. Why is it called Indian, by the way, all these openings? Does anybody know? Is it Native Americans or people from India who invented it? What is it? Probably no one knows this stuff. At least I don't. Anyway, a3 is one of the more aggressive lines against the Nimzo. Not sure how big of a fan I am, but it's certainly playable. And I'm not quite sure what the best recipe is. I'll play very directly, go bishop a6, knight c6, knight a5, and try to go after this pawn, come after him with everything I got. a4 is a decent move, planning to put his bishop on a3 to impede my castling abilities, but I'll live with it. Could go d6. or immediately knight a5. Not sure which one is smarter. Let's go d6. I'm not that worried about c5, because even if he gets rid of his double pawns here, the weak squares behind the double pawns still remain. That's an important lesson in all these positions. Don't be too worried that they get rid of their double pawns, as long as there are still weaknesses in place on c4 and c3, which you can attack. So after c5 here, white would still be worse, or would be worse after bishop f1, followed by knight a5 or whatnot. So I'm worried about it. Ain't worried about nothing. However, Varty played better, just getting his pieces out. No knight d2, or even e4, or queen e2, sacrificing the pawn. But I still think I have a playable position. Now c5 I could just take and go dc5, so that's not a good idea. Queen e2 is probably the normal move. c5, castles, and then after rook c8, maybe dc5 or something like that. A dc5 is never a very kind move to our friend on a3, so it's not an easy decision. And here, yeah, now white can't recapture on c5, so he probably should go c4 and try to create some compensation for the missing pawn, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. I really don't. Where's Varty from? Is he Dutch? I don't know. Let me centralize my queen, hoping for cheapos like knight e5, rook fd8, c4, queen takes e5. That is my main plan right now. And also, if he does go rook ft1, I want to go rook d8, still making it hard to go dc5 and unpinning from this diagonal so I can put my c-pawn somewhere, most likely on d4. Varty taking a long time out here, trying to find compensation for the missing pawn, but it's not an easy thing to do. Maybe queen b5 is a good move. Then a6, maybe queen a6. I don't know, man. I do like my position. Rook e1, preparing to go e4. Why not? But I shall try to stop that. I don't like it when they go e4. On the first move I don't mind it that much, but every move after that, if they don't go e4 on the first move, I already tried to prevent it. Like knight f3, I'm not going to allow you to go e4 on the second move. Or d4, not having any of it. So you can go one e4, but after that I shall fight against it with all my might and all my knight on e4. That's what happened here. Mr. Nimzovich would be proud of me. Not sure he would be. Knight e5, good move. Now I don't have queen takes e5 any longer, or at least it wouldn't win material anymore. Still a bit of a tempting move, to be honest with you, but nah, it's really no need for it. CD, I'm not sure that was clever either. Now he can go ed4 and then c4 and sort of get normal squares for his pieces. Should probably fight against c4 a little bit and go knight d6, planning to put this knight here. Knight f6, there's also bishop e7, which is a little annoying. So I should not do that. Takes, fair enough. c4 looks normal, and queen somewhere. Queen b7, it doesn't go c4, but that means now we have this phenomenon I was talking about. These squares are still weak, even though you got rid of the double pawns. You still have to suffer with these weaknesses. Could go rook c4, but then knight d2, c4. It's fine for me as well, but I prefer just building rook c7, rook dc8, and see what happens. Give me that. Two pawns are two pawns, as I might have mentioned once or twice in the past. Probably once. b1. 3 pawns are 3 pawns. It's never too late to try rook c1 and rook c8. Now it's too late. 4 pawns. Confusion. Let's play the rook endgame. Go Bobby. Go Donny. Go Anton. Goran's turn. And Fritjof. Donny again. Was it Danny? I think it was Donny. Emil. And Bobby. Oh, that was a bit unfair to Emil. Sorry, Emil. You might have given your life for the greater good, which is Bobby's future. Because now Bobby gets a sex change and becomes a queen. Check. Check. Now the check is coming. It's going to be the last check of the game. Good game, Vartje. Who else we got? Spike 14916. Also someone I've never played against. I slightly prioritize those. Not by much, but if I see I've never played against someone, I will normally click on them. Spike, isn't that the... That's an evil vampire in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? Let's test the audience's 90s trash TV knowledge. You guys watch Buffy, Willow, and Angel? Exciting stuff. I didn't watch it that much. I was gonna say, no, I really didn't watch it that much. Anyway, this d4 is a bit of a sideline of the Spanish. It's not considered to be very dangerous, even though I can never remember it. Here I think I'm supposed to go b5, bishop b3, d6, and there's some move like bishop d5, which I then am supposed to take, and go knight e5, and hilariousness ensues. Am I supposed to take? I wish I could remember. Is hilariousness a word, or is it hilarity? Probably it's hilarity. Like Hillary. 94, what was this line? Can I castle here? F4 looks a little concerning. Maybe I should go here. Is knight f5 a problem? Here looks a little passive, frankly. Not sure. No time to look it up. I have a feeling it was all theory up till bishop d7, but bishop d7 looks a little clumsy. So might have been another move they played there. Bishop b7 probably. Queen e2. He's trying to win my bishop. Not gonna happen. I like my bishops way too much to give them to you. No, queen e2 I think was not a good move, because after f4 I can just go knight g6, and else the queen doesn't have a lot of business on the e-file. I'll make it my business to chase it away. What time is it? Is the Martian starting? Almost, 1931. I'll play one more game after this one. People are discussing what I did before I became a professional chess player. I don't know, I never considered myself a professional chess player, but you know, I was doing stuff. Bishop f4, knight g6. I did go to school one day, believe it or not. Not sure if knight g6 was the best move. Maybe I should have gone bishop f6, keeping some more options open. Because now he's kind of stabilizing. I don't like that one bit. I'll play a slightly goofy plan. Do you guys, English speakers, do you call that guy Goofy, the friend of Mickey Mouse? He's called Goofy, right? Because I grew up believing, speaking of what I used to do, I read a lot of Donald Duck and we called him Goofy before I learned this beautiful language of English. It was Mickey and Goofy. So I have a feeling he was really called Goofy and we just gave him the wrong name in German. So apologies, Mr. Goofy. But you do call him Goofy, I would guess, right? Like the character, this whatever it is, some big clumsy dog. Is he a dog? I think he's a dog, I'm not sure. Could be a horse. What animal is Goofy? Rook d1, he's trying to scare me away from taking this pawn. But I shall not be denied. If you give me a pawn, I will go into all kinds of discovered attacks to eat it. Because a pawn is a pawn, and I am worried about nothing. Queen f3 I was a little worried about, but not worried enough to not take it. What's up, Spike? Goofy is a dog is being confirmed by Soporiferous. It's a weird dog because he's really tall and skinny. But yeah, I also think he should be a dog. What else would he be? Knight f5. Go away. Oh, I was planning to blunder my queen here with rook takes e1 and queen takes d5, which would run into knight h6 check. That's unfortunate. So I have to be changing plans and grab more pawns, but that really wasn't the plan, because now his knights do look a little scary. I'm a little scared now. Knight e7 check in the air. Feeling bad things could happen to me. Probably take that. With his knight on e7, one always has to be very careful not to run into checkmates like queen takes h7 followed by rook h5. Here, that doesn't exist yet, so you should probably just take on f7 when I would still be doing alright, but things haven't gone fully according to plan, because the plan was to win without allowing any semblance of counterplay. That's not what happened here. It was a well thought out plan. 95 back, what's that about? I do not understand. Je ne comprends pas. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? That's about the extent of my French. I will try to win new prizes in reckless greed and grab this pawn and see if I can get away with it. Just to see if I will be caught or not. Thrill. Queen e2, threatening checkmate, but I spotted that. Spike is in trouble. Spike has played a very good game though. Gotta give him that. Rook a1. I could take that rook. Or go rook e8 first. rook is a rook. One must take the rooks. And Spike resigns. Good game, Spike. Alright, last game. Who we got? So many options, so little time until The Martian starts, and Matt Damon is gonna hang out on Mars growing tomatoes or whatever he is doing. I hope there's some people on Earth discussing, do we save that guy or don't we? I think Jeff Daniels in the movies. I like Jeff Daniels. So I've read good things, and it has like 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. It can't be terrible, but I still am not sure it's worth 3 hours of my hard-earned time. Can't play a lot of opponents I haven't played yet. Tex-Mex is the only one that's showing up. What do we do against Tex-Mex? Let's go for one more e4, just for good luck. Oscar Sales is saying I haven't played him yet either. Is that true? Let me check. That is true. Alright, Oscar, you know what? I'll play one more game after this one and play you. I wasn't aware of that. I'll give you a chance after this. And maybe Tex-Mex is not here. Looks like that. Then we can move to Oscar immediately. Countdown, Taxi. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Abort. Sorry. Didn't I play Oscar? I have a feeling I played him the other day, and I was talking about, is he called Oscar's Hales or Oscar Halis? I have a feeling I did, but maybe he wasn't there then. I don't know. Anyway, maybe he's not here now. He just complained, now he's gone. It says in the chat, he is there. He goes d4, and this, yeah, Goofy, is he a mouse dog? That would make sense. He looks like a weird combination of a dog and a mouse or something like that. Doesn't look like a pure dog. Anyway, I haven't read Mickey Mouse for a long time. I might just pick up one of these. We call them lustige Taschenbücher in German at the kiosk and see if they still bring me as much joy as they used to. Bishop d2. One of the main lines on the Grunfeld nowadays, but after knight b6 they normally defend this pawn and go bishop g5 or bishop f4 or e3, e4, very aggressive. But a pawn is a pawn, and you know my policy. If you give me one, I'll take it. And probably go back home. All I wanted was that pawn. Probably some compensation, move like bishop f4. But I'm willing to suffer a little for a central pawn, so I'm not complaining too much. Zen Learner is pointing out that Goofy is a dog. Yeah, that seems to be the majority opinion, and hard to argue with it, but he looks like a strange dog. Like Commissar Hunter, is that what he's called in English? I don't know the English names because I read this as a kid only in German. But that's obviously a dog, right? And Inspector Issel. Those guys were dogs. Goofy is also a dog, admittedly. Mickey is a mouse, as the name indicates. Donald is a duck. And there's some other weird characters, like Clarabella in German. She's probably also a dog. She looks like a female Goofy. I don't know. I feel like picking up some lustige Taschenbücher and getting to studying this stuff right now. It's a sad thing. As a kid, obviously, I assumed all of this stuff was German and they're living in Entenhausen. Then you find out everything's from the US. We don't have culture of our own. We're just translating what Walt Disney and those people came up with in the States. I haven't paid any attention to the game, frankly, because I'm still confused about the species of Goofy, but I should probably stop worrying about it, accept the fact that he is a dog, and try to make some sensible moves. I'm not sure if this is one of them. Knight d5. I'm a little worried. I was planning to take ed knight b4. And I shall do that. But is that good or bad, or none of the above? Doesn't bite. Then it's time to unpin. Winning by unpinning. Queen c8. Let's see what Oscar S. Hales comes up with. Knight g5, attacking me. I shall counter that by centralizing my cavalry. I don't like saying cavalry for knights in chess. It sounds stupid. So please tell me not to do that anymore. Because I'm not planning to. What's going on? We got a visit.
Are you live?
Yep.
Okay.
Take care. Queen d3, bishop b3. Rook c1, and what shall I do? Should get rid of my queen. I'm confused. Out of things to say, I think I've completed my mission to repair some of the Lawrence Trent damage, but it's too early to celebrate. It's always so much easier to do damage than to repair it. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed that. Especially in chess. You really have to grind away, or in my case, to win whatever, like 5 rating points. But then to lose 20 in a tournament, no problem. In this position, I am better because of this pawn I picked up earlier outside of the opening. There's still some work ahead of us. I like to speak of myself in the plural. Plural? Is that even English? I'm really losing it. Time to get out of here. Watch Matt Damon. Check. I haven't been drinking. I've slept well. I feel like a mix of alcohol and sleep deprivation, but none of those things happened. So some compensation after either e5 or f5. I'd probably go with e5. Rook c2 possible as well. It's a little more passive, and I think it's time to part with my beautiful bishop to take more pawns, because I like pawns. I like prawns and pawns, probably equally. Like food-wise I prefer... No, I'm not sure. I was gonna say I prefer prawns food-wise, but I really enjoy eating pawns as well, so I'm not sure that's a true statement. I'm not being very funny today. I'm trying too hard. That's what people have always told me. Jan, you're just trying too hard. Don't try that hard. Stop doing your homework every day. More pawns though. Probably should have taken the f4 pawn. That was slightly juicier than the a4 pawn. But still, the pendulum has turned against Oscar because I took a lot of his pawns. He's trying to get a perpetual or something with... I have to think. Really should have taken this guy. Let's go here. I was planning rook e6 followed by queen g6 with the perpetual, so I'm trying to stop that. And I'm also trying to go queen f5 to kick this queen out of its very advanced position over there. You can stop that with rook e5. And I once again have to think, but then after some thinking I would probably take on b2 and enjoy the fact that I grabbed another pawn. Oscar is in trouble. Queen g5. Could just take, or I could say 3 pawns are enough. But are they? You never know. 4 pawns are better than 3 pawns. Still hungry. And Oscar does resign. Good game, Oscar. Thank you guys for watching the show on this lovely Friday afternoon. I will go watch The Martian on my Friday evening cinema activities. I might come back after that and do a video if there's anything exciting that happened in the European Club Cup. I'll have a brief look now. Not quite sure. I do hope you enjoyed the show, and I mainly hope that I will enjoy the movie, because if not, it's going to be very frustrating to sit through these 3 hours. Thanks a lot for watching. Become a premium member to play me if you aren't already, and see you guys next time with a better hair day and me wearing a shirt. I promise both of these things. See you then. Bye bye. That was the wrong button.